The future of business is not arriving gradually, it is rushing toward us at full speed. Artificial intelligence is no longer a tool we experiment with. It is becoming the very foundation of how organizations will operate, compete, and grow. The first major transformation in the AI-driven future of business is the shift from automation to augmentation. And to understand its significance, we need to rethink how we have traditionally imagined technology's role in our organizations. For decades, automation has been synonymous with efficiency. Machines replaced manual labor on factory floors, software replaced clerical work in offices, and algorithms optimized processes for speed and cost reduction. The narrative was always the same: remove the human from the equation to save money and eliminate error. But as we move deeper into the era of artificial intelligence, this view of technology as a replacement mechanism is dangerously narrow. The true power of AI lies not in sidelining people, but in amplifying them. This shift is about moving from humans versus machines to humans with machines, and that subtle change in framing will have profound consequences. Think of a surgeon preparing for a complex operation. In the past, that surgeon relied purely on their years of training, intuition, and maybe some imaging results. Today, imagine that same surgeon assisted by an AI system that has analyzed thousands of similar surgeries, patient outcomes, and medical literature in real time. Instead of simply automating tasks like scheduling or paperwork, AI is augmenting the surgeon's judgment, giving them a broader view of potential complications and the best strategies to proceed. The human remains at the center, but their capacity is exponentially enhanced. This is what augmentation looks like in practice. The same dynamic applies in every industry. A financial analyst equipped with AI doesn't just crunch numbers faster. They see patterns that would take decades to uncover manually. A product designer doesn't just sketch ideas, but works alongside an AI that can instantly generate prototypes, test market scenarios, and simulate user behavior. A teacher doesn't just grade assignments, but with AI, they can understand in real time which student is struggling, how they learn best, and what teaching strategy will unlock their potential. In each case, AI isn't removing the human role, but transforming it into something far more impactful. This shift also changes the value proposition of work itself. When technology only automated, people often felt threatened or diminished. The message was the less human involvement, the better. But augmentation reframes this entirely. It suggests that the human is indispensable, not because they can do what the machine cannot, but because together they can create outcomes neither could achieve alone. In the augmented future, creativity, empathy, critical thinking, and ethical judgment become even more essential, because those are the dimensions AI can magnify but never replace. For businesses, this demands a radical rethink of strategy. Training workers no longer means teaching them to perform repetitive processes. It means equipping them to collaborate with intelligent systems. Success will come not from eliminating people, but from orchestrating partnerships between human ingenuity and machine intelligence. The leaders who recognize this will unlock not just productivity gains, but entirely new forms of innovation. The future is not about choosing between human or machine. It is about embracing the extraordinary possibilities of both. The second shift shaping the AI future of business is the move from data to decisions. For years, organizations have chased the idea that more data equals more power. They've invested in massive storage systems, endless dashboards, and increasingly sophisticated analytics tools. Yet despite being surrounded by oceans of information, many companies still struggle to make timely and confident choices. The problem isn't that we lack data, it's that we lack clarity. Data without context is noise, and noise without interpretation is paralysis. The true value of AI is that it can cut through the noise and transform raw information into real decisions, giving leaders the ability to act at the speed of change. To understand why this shift is so important, consider the traditional decision-making process inside large organizations. A manager identifies a problem, requests reports from analysts, waits for the information to be compiled, then interprets it based on experience and intuition. By the time a decision is made, the market has often moved on. AI changes this timeline entirely. Instead of static reports, businesses now have access to dynamic intelligence, systems that analyze millions of variables in real time, flagging anomalies, predicting outcomes, and even recommending courses of action. What once took weeks of deliberation can now happen in seconds, allowing organizations to move from reactive to proactive. Take supply chain management as an example. Traditional systems rely on past data, last year's sales, historical shipping times, seasonal demand. But an AI-powered system doesn't just look backward. It continuously processes real-time signals, from weather forecasts and geopolitical events to social media sentiment and consumer buying patterns. Rather than simply telling you how things were, it tells you what is likely to happen and what decision you should make now. The leap from static data to predictive. Actionable insight is the very essence of this shift. This transformation is not just about speed, it's about quality. Human bias and limited perspective often distort decision-making. We overweight recent experiences, ignoring convenient facts, or fall prey to groupthink. AI, when designed responsibly, can act as a corrective lens, highlighting patterns that humans overlook and presenting options grounded in evidence rather than assumption. That doesn't mean humans are cut out of the loop. On the contrary, the best outcomes occur when AI-generated insights are combined with human judgment, ethics, and creativity. Together, they produce decisions that are both faster and smarter. For leaders, this shift requires a cultural change. Data must no longer be seen as an asset to be hoarded, but as a living system that continuously feeds decision-making processes. It's not about building the biggest database, but about building the most adaptive decision engine. Organizations that cling to the old model, where endless analysis substitutes for action, will be overtaken by those that treat decision-making as a real-time capability. In the end, the winners of the AI age won't be the companies that collect the most information, but the ones that turn information into decisive moves that reshape markets and capture opportunities before anyone else even sees them. The third great transformation in the AI future of business is the shift from systems to ecosystems. For most of modern history, organizations were designed as closed systems. They built rigid hierarchies, tightly controlled processes, and centralized structures intended to optimize stability and efficiency. Success depended on how well a company could manage its own systems internally. But in the age of artificial intelligence, this model is no longer sufficient. The environment businesses operate in today is too dynamic, too interconnected, and too fast-moving for isolated systems to keep up. AI forces us to rethink not just how we design processes, but how we design organizations themselves. The winners of tomorrow will be those who build adaptive ecosystems, networks of people, machines, partners, and platforms that evolve in real time. Think about how ecosystems work in nature. No single organism survives by itself. Everything is interdependent. Trees exchange nutrients through root networks. Bees pollinate plants. Predators regulate populations. Each element plays a role in sustaining the whole. The same principle applies to business in the AI era. Companies can no longer assume they can generate all their innovation, talent, or data within their own four walls. Instead, they must connect with other organizations, industries, and intelligent platforms to create value collectively. AI thrives in environments where data flows freely, insights are shared, and systems are interoperable. One striking example of this shift is in healthcare. Traditional hospitals operated as stand-alone systems. Patients entered, were treated, and left. But modern AI-driven healthcare is evolving into a connected ecosystem. Wearable devices stream health data, predictive models flag risks, pharmacies integrate medication histories, and insurance companies feed in coverage patterns. Together, this ecosystem can predict and prevent illnesses rather than merely treat them. The patient benefits not from a single institution system, but from the intelligence of the entire interconnected network. This shift also demands a new kind of leadership. In a system, leaders are managers of control. They ensure compliance, enforce standards, and minimize deviation. But in an ecosystem, leaders are architects of adaptability. Their job is not to tighten control, but to design environments where diverse players, human and machine, internal and external, can collaborate productively. That requires openness, trust, and a willingness to relinquish some degree of ownership. The ecosystem model is about creating value rather than hoarding it. The challenge for many companies will be cultural. Legacy organizations pride themselves on their systems, their proprietary processes, their internal expertise, their carefully guarded data. Letting go of that mindset feels risky. But the greater risk is isolation. In the AI economy, isolated systems stagnate while interconnected ecosystems learn, adapt, and scale exponentially. Businesses that embrace ecosystems will be able to respond to market shifts instantly, integrate new technologies seamlessly, and continuously reinvent themselves. The lesson here is clear in the AI future. Survival is not about how strong your system is, but how connected your ecosystem becomes. It is about building organizations that behave less like machines and more like living organisms, adaptive, networked, and resilient. The fourth key transformation brought about by AI is that leaders must fundamentally rethink the meaning of work. For centuries, work has been defined by tasks, repeatable processes that people perform in exchange for wages. From factory lines to office cubicles, the value of human labor was measured in output per hour and the ability to follow structured routines. Even in the knowledge economy, most jobs have been built around predictable processes, whether analyzing spreadsheets, processing transactions, or drafting standard reports. But with artificial intelligence, the landscape of work is shifting in ways that challenge every one of these assumptions. Machines are not just automating physical tasks, they are encroaching into the realm of knowledge, analysis, and even aspects of creativity. The implications are profound. If AI can perform many of the tasks we once associated with human labor, then the true role of people in organizations must be reimagined. To grasp this, it helps to understand the difference between tasks and higher order capabilities. Tasks are discrete, structured, and repeatable. They follow rules, and if there is enough data, AI can often perform them better, faster, and more accurately than humans. But higher order capabilities, such as judgment, ethical reasoning, empathy, and imagination, are not so easily codified. They are shaped by human experience, context, and culture. What AI does best is amplify these uniquely human qualities, not replace them. So the future of work is not about competing with machines on tasks, but about elevating humans into roles where their judgment and creativity matter most. Take customer service as an example. In the old model, call center employees spent most of their time handling repetitive inquiries, account balances, password resets, shipping updates. AI can now handle these tasks instantly through chatbots and automated systems. Does that mean customer service jobs disappear? Not exactly. It means those roles evolve. Instead of dealing with routine questions, human agents can focus on complex, emotionally charged situations where empathy and problem solving are crucial. In fact, their work becomes more meaningful because they are no longer bogged down by repetitive drudgery. They are empowered to make a real difference in the customer's experience. This shift forces leaders to reconsider how they design jobs, train employees, and measure performance. In a task-driven world, training focused on procedures and compliance. In an AI-augmented world, training must focus on adaptability, creativity, and collaboration with intelligent systems. Job descriptions should be less about rigid responsibilities and more about dynamic capabilities. And performance metrics should measure not just efficiency, but the ability to innovate, to solve problems, and to work alongside AI as a partner. At the same time, this redefinition of work raises critical questions about identity and purpose. For many people, their sense of self is deeply tied to their job title or the tasks they perform. As those tasks are automated, organizations must help employees reframe their roles in ways that preserve dignity and meaning. Leaders will need to communicate clearly that AI is not a threat to their existence, but a catalyst for evolution. By shifting focus from task execution to higher order contribution, they can create workplaces where humans feel not diminished, but elevated. Ultimately, rethinking work in the age of AI is not just an operational necessity, it is a moral imperative. Businesses that succeed will be those that don't just deploy AI to cut costs, but that design new kinds of work that unleash human potential. The challenge is great, but so is the opportunity to build organizations where machines handle the mundane and humans focus on what makes us irreplaceable. Trust and ethics will define the winners in the AI future of business, because as powerful as these technologies are, their adoption ultimately depends on whether people believe they are being used responsibly. Every major technological revolution has been accompanied by questions of trust. When electricity first spread into homes, people worried it might be dangerous. When the internet took hold, concerns about privacy, fraud, and misinformation quickly followed. With AI, the stakes are even higher because these systems don't just transmit information or automate processes. They make predictions, generate content, and increasingly influence decisions that affect lives, livelihoods, and societies. That makes trust not a nice to have, but a central pillar of competitive advantage. Consider a financial institution that uses AI to approve loans. If customers believe the system is biased or opaque, the institution risks more than regulatory scrutiny. It risks losing its credibility in the market. Similarly, a healthcare company deploying AI-driven diagnostics must be transparent about how its recommendations are generated, or patients will resist following them. In both cases, the technology itself may work flawlessly, but without trust, it cannot succeed. Trust, in this sense, is not about whether the AI is perfect, but whether people believe the organization using it is acting ethically, responsibly, and in their best interest. This is why ethics and accountability must be embedded into AI strategy from the start. It is not enough to build powerful algorithms. Leaders must also design governance frameworks that ensure those algorithms are fair, explainable, and auditable. They must ask, can we explain how this decision was used? Can we prove that it is free from harmful bias? Can we provide recourse if the system gets it wrong? These questions are not just technical challenges, but cultural ones, requiring organizations to balance innovation with responsibility. Employees, too, will look for trust signals. As AI reshapes jobs and redefines roles, workers need assurance that these changes are not simply about cost cutting, but about creating meaningful opportunities for growth. Leaders who communicate openly about the role of AI, involve employees in the transition, and demonstrate care for their development will build cultures of trust that endure. Conversely, those who impose AI systems without explanation or transparency will foster suspicion, resistance, and disengagement. The issue of trust also extends to society at large. Regulators, governments, and the public are watching closely how businesses deploy AI. Those that rush ahead recklessly risk triggering backlash and restrictive regulations. Those that lead with ethics can help shape the standards by which the technology is judged. In this sense, trust is not just about compliance, but about influence, setting the tone for how AI will be perceived in an industry or even across society. In the end, the organizations that win in the AI economy will not be the ones with the most advanced algorithms, but the ones that earn the deepest trust. Technology can be copied, trust cannot. It is built slowly, lost quickly, and in the world of AI, it will become the ultimate currency of business. ChatGPT said, the sixth and final shift in the AI future of business is the recognition that AI is not a threat, but a partner. For decades, the popular imagination has been haunted by dystopian visions of machines, replacing humans, taking jobs, or even surpassing us entirely. This fear has created resistance to technological progress, framing AI as an adversary rather than an ally. Yet in reality, the most successful organizations will be those that embrace AI as a collaborator, an intelligent counterpart that can extend human capabilities, not erase them. By shifting our mindset from replacement to partnership, we unlock a vision of the future where businesses are not defined by what machines can take away, but by what humans and machines can create together. This partnership begins with redefining roles. Instead of seeing AI as a tool that simply executes commands, businesses must recognize it as a co-pilot that actively contributes to problem solving and innovation. Take the example of creative industries. A marketer working on a campaign can use AI not only to analyze consumer behavior, but also to generate variations of content, test their impact in simulated markets, and provide insights into which ideas are most likely to resonate. The marketer still guides the strategy, applies cultural nuance, and brings the emotional intelligence that machines lack, but the AI accelerates the process, opening up possibilities that would have been impossible alone. Here, the relationship is symbiotic, human imagination paired with machine precision. Partnership with AI also has the power to democratize expertise. In the past, specialized knowledge was concentrated in the hands of a few experts. With AI, organizations can scale that expertise across the entire workforce. For example, AI-driven medical systems can put diagnostic insights in the hands of general practitioners, empowering them to deliver better care even outside major hospitals. Similarly, AI-enabled legal tools can help small firms analyze contracts with the sophistication of elite law firms. Rather than reducing opportunities, AI partnerships expand them, allowing more people to perform at a higher level. Of course, seeing AI as a partner also requires a cultural adjustment. Employees must be taught not to fear AI, but to engage with it confidently, understanding its strengths and limitations. Leaders must foster environments where experimentation with AI is encouraged, where failures are seen as learning opportunities, and where collaboration between human and machine becomes second nature. Just as previous generations learned to work alongside computers, or the internet, today's workforce must learn to work alongside intelligence that thinks differently than they do. The organizations that will thrive are those that adopt this mindset quickly. If a business treats AI as a threat, it will hesitate, resist, and ultimately fall behind. But if it treats AI as a partner, it will continuously evolve, finding new ways to innovate, adapt, and grow. The truth is, AI will not define the future of business. Our relationship with it will. By embracing AI as a collaborator, businesses have the opportunity not just to survive technological disruption, but to lead a new era of progress. The companies that succeed will be the ones that stop asking, what will AI do to us? And start asking, what can we do with AI together?